When I first started the gym 4 years ago, I thought my life had to change to lose weight. I thought I had to completely change who I was, change my habits completely. And yeah, I did to some extent. Yeah, if you're gonna lose weight, you need to get in healthier habits, eat clean, move more, be less of a lazy person. Yeah, sure. But I didn't know there was things you could do that would make your fat loss so much easier and you wouldn't even notice it. Like, if I knew this back then, instead of putting me through hell, I would have lost weight so much more easier just by following these four things. The first one is to walk more. I know it's silly, but there's so much calories, so much potential in just walking a bit more. And it doesn't have to be extreme, like going to the gym 1 hour on the treadmill. It doesn't. It can literally be as simple as, instead of driving to work, walking to work. Or if you work far, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. Instead of taking the escalator, take the stairs. Like, every single time you can find a way to be able to walk instead of, not walking, just do that. Like, I work in shopping centers, and sometimes there's a shop where I want to buy an energy drink next to me. There's another one at the opposite of the shopping center. So I'll just go to that one. Yeah, it's not that far. It's only making me walk 5 extra minutes, but 5 extra minutes 10 times a day, that's 50 minutes of walking. That's like 500 calories extra burns just because you made that tiny different decision. And I promise you, it may sound like a lot when I'm saying this. Implement it for yourself. You'll see you won't even notice it. I don't even notice that 5 extra minute walk. If anything, I like it because I know I'm doing something productive and I'm losing weight without having to do anything extra. Like, you don't feel the difference, but the return on investment you get from just moving and walking a bit more is genuinely life changing. Look, that was the first massive tip. Try and just walk more as much as you can. I promise if you do, your life will change forever and your fat loss will be as easy as it's ever been. Second tip is to just try and skip a meal in the day. It just depends from who you are. I personally like skipping dinner. Like, I don't know why. I like sleeping on an empty stomach. I sleep better. I have no digestion interrupting my sleep. Sometimes in the past, I would skip breakfast. It just depends on who you are. But if you can take away one meal, I promise you, hitting that calorie goal is gonna feel so much easier because then you can have bigger meals since you have one less. If I need to hit 3,000 calories in 5 meals, that's only like 600 calorie meals. It's small, there's not a lot. I'm more of a person where it's more sustainable for me if I have two 1,500 caloric meals because I feel like I eat more. I'm looking forward to those meals, and when they happen, it's so satisfying. But at the same time, I know even though I ate a massive meal, I'm still hitting my caloric targets because I'm eating less. And the thing is, like, you can easily skip breakfast or dinner, in my opinion. Like, if you're busy, you naturally forget about breakfast or about dinner. Like, it doesn't really matter which one you pick to skip. It can even be lunch if you want. But the less meals you have, the easier it's gonna be to be able to hit that calorie goal and make it sustainable. And I promise you, no matter who you are, you can easily skip at least one meal. Maybe it's not lunch, maybe it's not breakfast, maybe it's not dinner, whichever one you can. There's always one you can probably skip without it being too big of a deal. Everyone's different, genuinely. I've met people who can skip dinner easily like me. People who are like, no, I need to eat before bed, so they skip breakfast. Just depends on who you are, your life schedule, and like what work you do. Fair enough, but like, I promise if you do manage to skip a meal, that fat loss goal, calorie goal will be so much more easier to hit. The third tip is to actually do it with someone. It's so stupid to say because it sounds like common sense, but if you're like me, you want to do it alone. You want the pride, the ego of knowing you've done everything by yourself. No one helped you. You were amazing. You did everything. But if you can find a friend, a family member, whoever it is, that can be on that journey with you, even if it's not a fat loss journey, even if they're trying to put on mass, like a self-improvement, fitness-oriented journey, whatever it is, even powerlifting, then you guys can hold each other accountable. The times I made the most progress in my life was when I was training with my best mate. And look, the cool thing is, so I was training with that same guy for 2 years, okay? For the first year and a half, we went to the gym every single day together, holding ourselves accountable, training to muscular failure every time because we didn't want to be seen as weak in front of him. Like, we wanted to be seen as strong between us. So we were pushing ourselves hard, never missing a session. If I didn't want to go, he'd call me out and vice versa. But the cool thing is, when he left, because he went to study in Canada for 6 months, in my head, instead of being like, oh, I can relax, take my foot off the gas now, I thought, you know what? I want for when he comes back in 6 months from now, for him to be like, what are you on? Like, what happened? Like, even when he wasn't there, it motivated me to impress him. Like, I know it's cheesy to say, but it's true. If you have someone on the same journey as you or a similar journey, you're gonna want to first off hold yourself accountable because that person is. So naturally you push each other upwards. But at the same time, even when they're not there, you're going to want to impress them. You're going to want to make them proud, to be like, oh man, you're sick. And if you're like me, competitive, you're going to want him or her to do well, but you're going to want yourself to do a bit better. So if you see them getting their protein in, their caloric goal in, you're naturally going to be like, oh yeah, I need to get my shit together, because you're competitive and you want to do better than them. You still want them to do good, don't get me wrong. But if you're like a normal human, like a normal man, you want to do a bit better than them. Like, you want them to get 18 out of 20 as long as you get 19 out of 20. But if you get 12, you don't want them to get more than 12. You want them to get 11. You get what I mean? Like, you want people to do well, but not as good as you, which is completely normal. So it's just going to motivate you to be even more disciplined, just because you're training with someone. And look, the last tip is, which is my favorite in my opinion, is taking progress pics. Look, the most common reason why people stop fat loss or muscle building, whatever goal it is in the gym, is lack of motivation, by far. Because everyone can work out when you're motivated. But when there's no motivation and you need discipline, that's where most people fall off. So if you take pictures every single day, or you track a data, it can be your weight, but do it in a smart way, because the weight on the scale means nothing. So I would suggest pictures, or the weight on the machines you do at the gym, or like the size of your waist, the size of your biceps, whatever it is. Because if you, like me, you used to play video games. And the reason you got so addicted to them, like I did, was the leaderboards. There was a number. There was number 1, number 2, number 3, etc. Or if you were playing a game like Rocket League, there were points. If you were playing Call of Duty, there was the amount of kills. There's always a number, a form of data to track to see who's best. And that's addictive. That's why we loved playing video games. That's why I would grind hours with no one watching my video game to get better. So then when I played with my friends, I'd be top of leaderboard. Yeah, you probably can relate to this. So that's why it's so important to have a data, because then you become competitive. You become kind of addicted like you were with video games, but this time for something productive. That's why the most common switch men see in their like early teens or early adulthood is going from video games to the gym, because it's very similar. If you track data, track the weights on the machines you do, track the size of your waist, your biceps. Maybe you can, as simple as take pictures, just see a transformation. Don't just go to the gym mindlessly with only thinking about the dream outcome of having 30-inch biceps or having being 120 kilograms lean. Have a goal that's like progress tracking, if that makes sense. Not just the end goal, because if you do, you'll get demotivated on the days you're not doing well. But look, even if I don't have my dream physique, if I've managed to go by 5 kilograms on bench press, I'm going to be so gassed. And next time I'm going to do chest, I'm going to be looking forward to it, because I know I got stronger last time. And even though I'm still not close to my dream goal, because you can't make progress in just one gym session, I'm still excited because last session was a win. So try and see a form of data to keep being able to be motivated. And look, these 4 simple tips, as I said, you can do them. It doesn't change your life. You don't even notice yourself doing them. Subconsciously, they will change your life, because they did for me, genuinely. I've always been, before the gym, the most inconsistent guy I've ever met. I would never stick to anything. I would get bored super quick, want something new, something fresher straight away. I'd try something, didn't work, try something new, straight away, genuinely. I'd barely try twice. When I started the gym and I implemented these 4 things, now I'm at about 1,300 gym workouts since I started. I literally never miss a day. Yes, I make mistakes. Yes, I don't have the best physique out there, fair. But in terms of discipline and consistency, I'm pretty much top 1%, because I hold myself accountable. I train with my friends. I'm able to track progress. And just naturally for my fat loss, I just move more. I just do more steps every single day. And I promise, if you do those 4 things, your fat loss will be so much more easier, because you'll naturally have a deficit, because you'll be moving more. At the same time, you'll have discipline, motivation, which is, as I said, why most people give up. So then you won't give up. And once you start seeing progress, it's a snowball effect anyways. So once you see yourself get leaner, you're naturally going to want to push more, even without any other form of motivation, because progress is an obsession. It's very addictive seeing progress. So as soon as you start seeing progress, you'll see you'll have no worries. But use these 4 tips when you start in, until you start getting addicted to the process. If you have any questions whatsoever about this, drop a comment down below. I'll try and answer everyone. And if you appreciate these kinds of videos where I just try and genuinely share my stories to help you, drop a subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.